What's up, guys? So, those of you who don't know me, my name's Stephen Ronald Bell. I run the group The Complete Man. I also run the group SRB Crypto. And what I'm here to talk to you guys about today is about the dating space in 2025, how it's changed, how for a lot of you guys, when I first come on 2 years ago to say that the red pill was a pyramid scheme and that you guys were essentially learning a bunch of bad data, I got a lot of pushback. I got a lot of people push back on me because obviously they were at higher levels of the pyramid than others. And essentially, I come to tell you guys that back then, that a lot of the people that were leading those movements didn't have what you wanted. Like they didn't really have what it was that they were actually pushing out to others that they could help them get it. So again, if you're going to be a teacher, you kind of have to have what it is that you're essentially teaching others. And you would come to look at the red pill as I have now. And I would think that the red pill has actually done more harm than good, specifically for men when it comes to dating. I think that a lot of the strategies and the things that guys learned was just to be disrespectful to women, to not like women, to hate them. You know, a lot of the guys that were essentially pushing those areas, if they were to not be, monetized from the followers, if they didn't have any money, they wouldn't even get any girls. You know, a lot of those shows and things like that rely on like rage baiting you guys. A lot of you don't realize that with those shows that are the owner, the guy, the producer, the one that runs it, the one that owns it, has winked to the OF models on the show, and they're actually just monetized you because you watch it and then you subscribe to them, or some people do. And then if they can have a viral clip, the girl, she can do something silly, get kicked out, anything. The clip goes viral, and then some people are like, "Oh, I want to see her tits, I want to see her ass, so I'm going to subscribe to her shit." So you're actually just watching a shtick, like you're watching a like a performance when you watch that stuff. Some guys actually watch that and think that it's legitimate for some reason. Those shows, whatever, podcast, Fresh and Fit, all of that, it's all rage bait content. And that's not to say that the guys haven't done very well. You know, Myron and Walter, they've done really well, and well done to them. They're hard workers. But that show is entertainment, similar to Jerry Springer. You know, you don't watch Jerry Springer in a way that you're trying to learn like social dynamics or anything like that, because it's just outrage. Again, you're not going to learn anything from such like crazy behavior. And again, what you focus on multiplies. So if I look at a bunch of OF hoes, I don't really want to date them. So I don't really care what they have to say. I'm not really going to focus on them because they're not my target market when I run out. And I think, how am I going to get the girl that I want? So I don't really care what they say, like what they think is somewhat irrelevant. And it hasn't helped. It doesn't help men and women dynamics to essentially treat women like shit, humiliate them, yell at them, bring them on the show, and then only bring a bunch of airheads and then try to make them look bad. Like none of that stuff helps society. As you guys have come to understand now, a lot of the medicine in the past was division. See, division is that's what they're pushing now. Division between like racial, and division between men and women. That's the biggest product. Like that will be promoted. Anything that pushes that. That's why the red pill itself had a massive run, because it was promoted. It was the counter product of feminism. That's the truth. A lot of guys think like toxic masculinity and things don't exist. But then when you watch those shows, the guys just essentially use their voice and use their running the platform to just run women over. And they have a massive power discrepancy. And men don't exist to make women look bad. You know, real men don't run women over, specifically if they have come as correct as they can. Like you don't invite someone onto it to you host them and then you just bring them in as a little gotcha moment to try to make them look dumb. That's what insecure people do. Like secure men don't do that. Like men don't dunk on women. Like that's not the purpose of them. You know, if you're to really believe that men are more logical and in some ways more intellectual, like why are you dunking on women? You have the physical power as well. Like there's really no need to, unless you yourself feel inadequate, which is what a lot of the guys do. A lot of those guys, they want to bring women down so that they feel that they're on an even level. Like you don't have to neg girls if you're above them. You don't have to neg people if you're on the same level as them. You only have to do that if you're trying to essentially like even the odds up. It's insecurity based, a lot of that stuff. So building off of that, those sort of ideas, and a lot of the red pill ideas that I've seen, men should go for girls with really low body counts, ideally virgins, and guys should hang out with traditional girls from the church or something like that. And the guy's a fuck boy. The guy's running around Tinder or Bumble or all of these apps just banging girls. The guy's leading on virgins or girls with massively low body counts, and then just pumping and dumping them. Do you know how stupid that is? Like that's so stupid that words would fail me. That has no longevity. Like a lot of guys, they can get that because they promise the relationships and they promise a girl like that they're looking at her for the long term. And if they could get her pregnant or something like that, they think they can just keep her around. They don't care about, like, they don't think about that that's someone's daughter. Like, that's another man that you're fucking over in that way. I've said it before. Some guys don't realize that a lot of the big influencers, or some of them, they have like they set up little proxy accounts out in, like, the districts or the suburbs or like the little villages out in like Eastern Europe, and they set up accounts there because they have many staff, and the staff just use like outreach to chicks there. So they get like village girls with very little experience, like very little experience, and then they fly them in, bang them, often lie to them and promise that they're looking for something serious, and then can send them back to the village, sometimes pregnant. And then the dad or someone else has to deal with the mess. The girl's dad, the girl's family, like, she's going to be embarrassed. She's going to be humiliated in a lot of ways. Like, these sort of ideas, again, if you have a power discrepancy, you're abusing women under such an idea. And it's all dumb because a lot of you guys, like, again, you cheer the very people that are making it so that you yourself don't have what you want. Like, a lot of those guys, they pump and dump women that for you would have been that would have been what you should have wanted. Don't you see these sort of ideas are so different? A lot of guys, like guys like that, they can do it at like 50, 100 girls at scale. They can just keep doing things like that and pumping and dumping girls with low body counts. And I need a chick that's a virgin and I need all of these things. Oh, yeah, you're looking for a marriage or, like, some engagement. You must be looking for something serious. Nah, I just don't want to fuck a hoe. I just want to create them. I'm not interested in fucking them. I'm just happy to create them from zero and then leave them. Some guys pimp women and then jump on and cry about women are hoes. Some guys were behind the very sexualization of women and propagation of that area. And then they sit there and complain that every girl, or there are a lot of hoes around now. You created the hoes. Like, you created the very issue that other guys have to live within. And now you're going to turn around and complain. See, I sold drugs for years when I was younger. And I don't run around and talk badly about people that take drugs. I know junkies can exist. But I contributed to that issue. It would be pretty hypocritical of me to sit there and say that junkies are irredeemable. Because some of you think that women are irredeemable as well. Some guy thinks that I have TCM, so I run the complete man. And I've seen guys, if they talk like, they're with a 20-year-old chick and she's had like 2 or 3 bodies before him. And now he's like, just found out that she was at the club or something. She's been there in the past before they were together. And now he thinks like other people are laughing at him, that he should have got a virgin and he shouldn't be this, but he shouldn't be that. But he's in a happy relationship. He's like, yeah, I really like this chick, but I found out she's been with 2 guys before me. And now some autistically logical dude's like, you should just dump her and get a virgin. As though they're that easy to find. Like in what, Oz, UK, Europe, like, like the Western side of it. Canada, New Zealand, those bigger countries, the virgins are very difficult to find. Specifically like 18 to 25, it's not going to be very common. Like the world, again, we deal with what we have. Don't you ever see to think like a lot of those red pill dweebs, they don't have what they fucking complain about? I watched a show or watched a little bit of Fresh and Fit once, and they had that Donovan Sharp on there, that fat fucker. And he had this fucking pig next to him, and she was old, single mom. And not that that's not the be all end all, but these are the guys that stand there and chest beat, yelling at women. But they don't have what the fuck they're saying. They have a level of self-hatred. They want what they essentially can't get. And now they tell everyone that this is the women's fault. See, women don't want guys like that. Like, women don't want guys that would go on a podcast and just degrade women. Women don't want guys that, and that's why guys like that end up with like the very dregs of the world. Like, but they're the guys that you guys are taking advice from for some reason. They're the guys that don't have what you want. The guys who, again, if they're to be anything, they're only pumping and dumping women because they have a lot of money. If they didn't have money, they wouldn't have so much success in that regard. A lot of you, I guess, just want to get to the top of that chain so that you can shit on others. Because what happens is, like, their daughter or the girl, she's someone's daughter. Like, you're often fucking over another man. Some of you, as it is for me, would you really want, if it was your daughter, would you really want your daughter to be dating a guy like you? Not you, but a guy like you, let alone married to a guy like you, specifically if you're a fuckboy or a cheater or a liar. Like, if you're honest with yourself, what dad would ever want that? Some guys think like this church shit, like, oh, I'm just going to run around the church and I'm trad and I'm all of these things, but you're a fuck boy. How are you trad if you're running around with a few girls? How are you trad if you're leading girls on? How are you trad if you're running around Tinder trying to fucking get all these fuck sessions going? How are you trad if you're not, of the traditional fucking values? Family is probably the first of it. That's the most foundational quality for people like that. Some guys just want to have a girl from the church essentially to, pump and dump her because they think that she's got low experience and she's got morals. So now they're going to exploit them. And then all that they do is they grab a girl, similar to a can of Coke, shake it up. So they shake the girl up with lies and bullshit and all of this crap and drama and toxicity and gaslighting. A girl who's had no experience in that, so it works very well, yes. But then you shake the drink up and then you give it to the next guy because it doesn't work out because he didn't really have any long-term plans for this girl. And then the next guy opens it, and then he's like, what the fuck happened? But the girl's already pissed off. She doesn't trust anymore. Her heart is hardened. She was a good prospect in the beginning, but now she was with a fuckboy for a month or 2 months of some like situationship that he said. And he had a girlfriend or he had other shit or he just let her on and fucked her over. And he thought it was funny for some reason to fuck virgins when hoes can bang hoes. See, I'm quite a hoe. Like I know that. So I don't bang virgins. I'm not fucking virgins. I'm not fantasizing about how I can get a girl because essentially I don't want the very thing that she would want. I'm not looking for a wife. I'm not looking for a fiance. I'm not looking for a girl that I'm going to have kids with in that regard. If it is to come along, then so be it. But I'm not actively searching for it because I'm not dragging others into that sort of a mess. Like I would only do that if I'm certain. I'm not going and trying to get girls that have the 1 or 2 or less body count because I know that I myself am a hoe, as a lot of you are as well. So again, we often want what we aren't, but we only really deserve what we are. That's the truth. I teach a lot of these concepts in TCM, which is the complete man. It's on my website, stephenronaldbell.com. You can join. We do a lot of exercises and things like that to essentially identify and change behavior in ourselves. Like we realize that the world is a reflection of the internal, and we have to get the internal right first. We have to have some very strong looks at ourselves and kind of come to figure out what it is that we want and what it is that we want. And if we're coming in to deserve what we want, having a plan, having a vision. One of the last exercises that we do is to begin to envision who you can be and the things that you have to let go and the negative talk and the negative changes that you have to go through to actually become that person. That's the truth with the exercises and things. It already changes guys' lives. I run SLB Crypto as well, so it's a crypto group, and that's amazing as well. I do a collective where you can buy both of them, but bringing it all back to essentially the red pill and these ideas and how they've done a lot of damage to guys. A lot of guys absorbed a lot of poison and toxicity and crap from shit that they just saw on like those shows. Their assumption of women is a few OF models who are only on there to be bombastic and crazy because they hope that they are on a viral clip. And then a lot of people will see a viral clip if they go silly. And then some people will subscribe to their shit. The host has essentially put them on there because they're doing a rev share type model. You don't know that for some reason. Like you couldn't put those 2 and 2 together. You think that you're witnessing an organic conversation as though girls are going to sit there and listen to guys talk to them like shit. But the girl just does it because she wants to stay on there as long as she can. Because then she's going to monetize the followers. So all that's happened is it's just turning a bunch of the followers into absolute simps. And guys are getting pushed into OF like they're actual OF buyers. See, some guys have a deep hatred for women, but then they pay women on OnlyFans. Like that's a really popular model. And that's the thing of, again, quite a self-hatred type of thing. Like you say that you don't like women, but a lot of people, probably a ton, specifically in the West, buy OF. What is it? It's like 20 or 30% of guys. It's something crazy now. People that have at least sent or seen that app, sent or subscribed to a girl. But that's what this sort of thing happens because, again, you're not, like the guys, the content creators, the early guys, and the fuckboys, they sexualized women as though women have no utility to provide other than to fuck, other than a tits and an ass and a pretty face. They have no other value. There's nothing else for them to provide, according to many. And then all that happened was those people, and even me to a point, we sexualized them. And then they just figured out a way to essentially make money from their sexuality without even meeting you. See, they used to have the idea that they would fuck for money. But now they can just sit on OnlyFans and post photos of their tits and shit like that and have chatters so they don't even have to deal with the people. They don't have to see people. So that's the that's the thing. And then when women see guys on those channels and the shit like that talking poorly about women, a lot of them will be like, I don't want to meet guys, those types. Saying that you're associated with the red pill is like social suicide. Like it really is. That's why a lot of those red pill nerds, they don't get hot girls. They get old women and like women who are kind of they're there because they don't have a lot of options. They're not getting the like 18 to 23 or 24-year-olds, the ones that are in the most demand. They're not want to be associated anywhere near that. See, this excessive use of logic, and every woman can be explained that women only want money and they want like 100K and all of the. If you ask women what they want, of course they're going to say that they want to be with a millionaire. Of course they're going to say they want a rich guy, but they fuck guys that aren't rich all of the time. Of course a girl's going to say that she wants a handsome guy, but they fuck guys that aren't handsome often as well. I want a guy who's 6'4" and built like Hercules, but they fuck guys that are like 5'8" and other shit. Women don't know what they want. If anyone can tell you as well, you'll be like, I only want this type of girl, but you fucked girls but that are very different to that many times. That's how people work. Everything changes when you're face to face. Like if you're face to face with someone, they have a chance. That's the truth. Like if I'm face to face with a girl and she's not that hot, but she has a fucking hot personality and she's like just funny and she just makes you feel good to be around, of course you're more likely to fuck her or be with her or take her serious than if she was to meet you online and she's like not really attractive or anything. You would be like, oh, I can't see any of this personality. I can't feel her energy or her vibe around. So she's canceled. And that's kind of what happens with a lot of guys. A lot of guys are kind of like damaged from watching a lot of that shit. A lot of guys realized that was like an angry echo chamber. That's why I never did any red pill content, because I realized that it's not even incel content, because the incels, they're out of the mark. Like you're not an incel if you're watching women and yelling at them and shit. Like incels, they've given up, or not really necessarily given up, but they've moved out of that. They realized that they just opted out of that whole game. They're not standing there yelling at women anymore. Like they're just like, oh, well, I'm out of that. I've got other shit to do that I want to do more. And that I can understand that because it's a decision. It's the other types that essentially they want to act like they don't like women, but they're still obsessed with them. Like they're still wondering what they're up to and watching them and following them and checking on them and hoping that, one day that they're just going to change for some reason and just come and kiss their feet. That will never happen. A lot of guys, specifically, I would imagine all, don't understand women's hardware is different to guys. A lot of the shit that you try to explain to them or you try to teach them or you try to train them or you try to give them your wisdom and shit, none of that stuff works on women. Actually, it repulses them. Women don't care how wise you are. Like they don't. Women don't care about the things that you say and how clever you can be and all of it. They care about how you make them feel. Women are feelings-based. They feel first, and then they might assess the information based on how it makes them feel first. Like that's that's how it works. If you know how to spike the emotions up to the upside and the downside, then that's how you can leave an imprint and a message. See, a lot of guys, they're like, oh, I want to be with a chick that has like 1 body count or 0, because also they don't know how to fuck. They don't know how to leave an impact on a woman. They don't know how to imprint women really at all. If they do it all, it's by accident and it's negative. They don't know that, women, again, you have to have the strongest imprint on her. And then it doesn't matter if she's got 1 or 2 bodies or 3. It doesn't matter, because you're going to be the one that stood out the most. You've overwritten the software. It's like a paint, and then you just blob over the top with the paint. And all of the shit from the past will go. Not talking about girls that have like obviously 10 bodies or too many, but ones who are still, within the dating concepts. Because again, you only can deal with what is around. I know we all have this idea where some guys, and I get it in some cultures and things like that, you can walk around and there are virgins and there's arranged marriages or there's just the structure. That's a bit different. But I'm talking about, Oz, UK, Germany, fucking Canada, talking about New Zealand, talking about countries where essentially that would be extremely rare. And a lot of you, again, if you are to get a girl, you're just going to push her to lie, because she knows that you're deeply insecure and that really triggers you for some reason. Like it really bothers you if your girl has 2 bodies or 3 or 4. It's 2025. Like, let's get real. Otherwise, you're just going to be sitting back out of the market. It's like you're the guy who Bitcoin's 110K and you're sitting there being like, I'm not buying until it's 20K. I'm buying the crash at 20K. I'm not taking any of these girls. I'm going to take the ones in 10 years' time when you see that they're on a massive decay. 10 years' time, they're going to be fatter. 10 years' time, they're going to have even more like crazy ideas. 10 years' time, they're going to be even further down a virtual product. There'll be a VR idea, and you'll be further away from women. And I know a lot of guys say, "Oh, just get these sex robots and all of these things," as though that's some replacement to actually being able to reproduce and live a life of fucking love. Love is the highest vibration, and again, the red pill focuses on control and logic as a defense mechanism. You're trying to control love, and love cannot be controlled. It cannot be contained. It transcends time and space. It really does. Love doesn't exist. It's not a physical product. You can't, as such, you can't choose who you love, and you can't choose for it to end. And that can be painful at times. You can love people even if they're not good for you. That's true. You can have a girl that's a way better prospect than another, and then you love the one that is the fucking one that you don't understand why you love them. That's how it is, and you can't just decide to wrap it up there. But again, the saying is, the better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. And it takes the most courage. See, a lot of this stuff from the red pill as well is just lean into your strength and logic and, be physically strong. And everyone's a boxer, and that means that they're hard for some reason. But then they sit there with crossed arms and they're fucking terrified that someone's going to see that they can also be vulnerable. Someone's going to see through the disguise. Someone's going to see through the hard shell on the outside. If I just get big biceps, then it means that I'm strong for some reason. Strong is showing the full spectrum of emotions as a man. Strong is being able to be vulnerable at times in those controlled environments. Strong is being able to see your daughter and tell her that you love her. Strong is telling your friends that you can love them as well. Strong is having a girl and not being afraid to show that she's important to you. Red pill and those sort of ideas are about their scarcity based. The guys are often deeply insecure. They exist off nagging women and trying to make it so it doesn't seem like she knows that she's important. Just endless games, like little tricks and games and shit. And if you were to have a long-term relationship, if you want to get married ever, but you might not want that. But if you want a long-term relationship that runs into having kids, you're going to have to sit and talk to a woman for a very long time, or your kids are going to be a fucking disaster. They're not going to like you. Like, you better have a lot of money under these sort of ideas and to not see them. And you probably don't. Do you have millions of dollars to manage all of that? I have a daughter and she's in Australia, and it costs her, just her schooling is $15,000 a year. That's school. That's it. The basics of school. It's not to count excursions and shit. It probably runs closer to $20,000 a year. So unless you can pay that and then still pay her rent, I pay my ex's rent as well because she lives there with my daughter. So again, unless you want to pay what's probably 60 or 70K a year. So unless you want to do that and then do it for multiple times over, then you're going to have to deal with a woman for a very long time, as you should be able to. And you're going to have a relationship or a marriage is like a very long conversation. Like, if you think about it, it's the way it is. Communication for you guys, and specifically red pill guys, isn't taught. If you can have anything at all, it's generally maintained through games, which is to be tricks and games only last for a very short time. They don't have any legs. Tricks are for kids, as the saying goes, and that's very true. Tricks and games, and you're trying to, a lot of guys I don't want to text it too fast. I'm trying to look busy, and that's all stupid. Like, that's like mastering the micro. Those are games. If you have to play games to impress a chick, she's not for you. If a girl looks at her phone and sees that you replied 5 minutes instead of 50, and she thinks, oh, well, this is not the guy. He's some reason he must be a loser because he checked his phone at that moment. Then that was always going to fall apart. Like, games and tricks and crap, they're not for you anyway. So it's okay if those things are lost anyway, if they fall over. Increasing your value, and you have to be with a girl, you have to have all of this status and money and things as well, is dumb. For the most part, it is silly. You're trying to overcompensate for something else. And then if you get the girl and she's very money focused and things like that, she's not going to have a very deep connection with you if those are the things that she thinks about when she thinks of you. If you're with a girl and she's like, oh yeah, I'm with fucking Steven, but I like that he has money and that people think that he's important in some areas. It's nothing to do with me. Those are products of who I am, yes, but that's nothing to do with me. I wouldn't be happy with that. I don't want a girl that's like, Steven has a Rolex. Oh, my girlfriend knows that I have a Lamborghini and she tells everyone. That's not good. Like, none of that stuff is good. That's why a lot of influencers and things like that, I've said it before, they flex cars because there's nothing else there. Like, it's much easier to buy a car than it is to become a complete man. 100% easier. Like, it's uncomparable. It's easier to get a Lamborghini than it is to become a fully fledged man and accept all of your emotions and understand the full spectrum of them. Being able to show them, being able to be vulnerable, because you have strength behind it. See, vulnerability is true vulnerability comes with strength behind it. So you can be vulnerable. Someone can see you and you can say you had a bad day. You can go to a funeral. You can cry at a funeral. If it's what you want, then so be it. And no one's going to come running up and dunk on you. See, a lot of people, again, they're vulnerable, but there's no, I guess, if there's no strength behind it, because you can lose control, like your emotions. If you can lose control of your emotions because there's no strength behind them to anchor them, then that can be a problem. Like, you can't be too reactive. Just because you, again, upset, you lose a family member and maybe something really bad happens to you. Maybe you lose your job and you get upset. Like, these things can happen and they're pretty normal. Again, the opposite. What's the opposite to turn off from your emotions? To get hurt and then essentially just become a hollow shell. Some guys get dumped by a chick and they don't deal with it, and then they just they go around and just hurt other women. A girl did something wrong to them, and now they're like, they don't really know that they're doing it, but they're just running through women and creating the very problem that hurt them originally, because they're not dealing with it. So hurt people hurt others. That's true. So it's like saying the abuser abused, but can often become the abuser at a much later stage because they haven't dealt with it. And all of these things and all of these ideas, I mean, I'm the best at, because psychology wise, I'm the king, like, of those ideas. But my ideas, again, have legs, kind of the ideas based around you get what you are. If you want to go around the village and you want to find a girl and you want to find a girl that doesn't have much experience, well, you better have a fucking plan for her. Like, you better have something long term and a vision for her for the long term. Like, don't just get something to destroy it for someone else. I would look in the mirror and be like, if I was the girl's dad, would I be happy that she's with me? Do I have good intentions for her? If I actually, like, some guys, this like traditional religion, and guys will run around and tell everyone they're Catholics and they're this and that and this, and then they're a fuckboy. Some guys will be very judgmental of others, but they're a fuckboy. They're lying to women. They're hurting women. They're manipulating people around them. Then they'll turn around and be like, but I'm not a good Christian, as though that matters. You're a hypocrite because you're judging others, but then you're not judging yourself. See, the saying of, like, a lot of guys, they condemn women based on their past. But if, like, a chick does something at 18, let's say she goes to the club and fucks or whatever, but at 18, you were probably a complete loser. Like, I was a complete loser at 18 years old. I was a loser at 20. I was starting to not be a loser at like 21 or 22. And in some ways after that, I was still a loser. So it takes people time to get calibrated. People can make mistakes and it doesn't condemn them. It's not what women have done in the past. That's just a reference manual. It's what happens when they arrive. Because some people will try extra hard because they've done shit in the past that they come to realize what it is that they don't want. See, these ideas and these things people don't get, like, they don't realize, because a lot of the stuff is control based. A lot of guys, they're happy to get a clean slate or a girl with a very low body count, and they're not easy to find, but they can get it because also they don't know how to have a conversation with women. They don't know how to talk. So if a girl hasn't really been in a relationship before or had too much experience, she doesn't realize that the guy she's with is an idiot for an extended period of time. Of course, it still will fall over because she doesn't know what normal is. A lot of these, like, really strong guys, and I'm a boxer and I'm doing all of these things and I'm fighting and I'm doing all of this, like, life itself is a battle and it's a war, and it's not. Like I said, it's obviously not. I've been to prison for an extended period of time, and even then I wouldn't have said life itself is a war. I was in a veterans hospital 14 months, in an army hospital, 14 months, 24 hours a day. I've had a guy die opposite me, a good friend of mine, in the same room. I don't know how many people that I've known from that hospital that have killed themselves since then. A lot. Men's mental health is massive. So when people jump on and be like, depression isn't real or anxiety isn't real or just harden up because you're a pussy and all, it's not true. Because I've sat there with the special forces soldiers that killed themselves because life was too hard. But training and being strong, you couldn't fucking rival them. Like, they have very strong. But depression and mental health, it can catch everyone. It catches you tired. That's the idea. Like a lot of guys, or some of them, they don't mean to kill themselves or plan to. They're just very tired in that moment. See, I had a suicide attempt in 2012, the same. Before I went to Army Hospital, I had one. I overdosed. I took a ton of pills and drank as much as the Johnny Walker as I could till I passed out. And I didn't know, I wasn't sure if it was to actually kill myself, but I just couldn't sleep. And if you know the pain of not being able to sleep properly, it's different. Like where you kind of, for weeks on end, you go to bed and then you're kind of sitting at the roof staring. And then you're not really asleep, but you're in a trance. And then you look at your phone and then you see that you're like, oh, fuck, I got to get up and go to work in like 3 hours. And then you see it and you just lay back in a trance a bit more. And then you're like, oh, shit, I got to get up and go to work in 40 minutes. And you just watch it ticking away as it gets closer. And then you like get up and then you have coffee, but you've slept like not even an hour for that whole night. And then it happens again and again and again and again and again. And your mind itself starts to break down. And then you'll do kind of anything to sleep, even if it means trying to kill yourself. It can happen. You know, some guys end up jumping out of a building or something. It does happen. I had a guy that I knew in the crypto market, and he was close to me. And in the bear market, he jumped out of a building as well. It happens for men, right? See, this like toughen up, and that's not real advice, because it just makes you feel like you're alone, and you're not. Understand that every mental thought or every feeling or every mental health thing or anything that you've gone with, someone else has gone through it as well. You're never really alone as well. Like walking around when you're around here, you're never alone. I hope you know that. Like walking around, you have things like there are beings with you. God is always someone that you can call on. You know, you're never alone. Like Jesus Christ, in my view, is always around. That's it. I've had a few near-death experiences and I've seen the Virgin Mary several times, and I know that she's around as well. Those are the ideas though. Like again, you can understand an idea of like Virgin Mary and others like that, but you can't understand that, you know, like to have respect for women. So some guys will say, oh, I'm jumping on here and simping for chicks and that shit like that. But I've never subscribed to any of their stuff. I make content for men. I don't make content for women. I only make these and stand here and talk this because a lot of you need to change your mentality. Some of you really need to grow up, like for real. Some of you idolize 40-year-old men that still call themselves playboys. You're 40 fucking years old. Like when are you going to grow up and realize that however many notches you have on your belt, it's not going to satisfy you? You're 40 fucking years old, 30s. It gets fucking sad running around and trying to flex getting girls. Like you have to move into the next phase of life. People at that age are flexing that they have a good family. They have a happy family. Not running around flexing that they got a piece of pussy that's fucking the shit that you talk about at 18. That shit's not hard. Nothing glorious in it. You know, especially because most people, they get girls, they lie to them to get them anyway. So it's all deception based, which means that it has no legs. Anything that you have to lie to get will fall over because it wasn't for you. And again, you're not learning anything about yourself because a lot of you in the PUA guys, they just wear a mask. Like wearing a mask till they get laid and then they take it off and then they'll wear another mask. They don't initiate any sort of frame control with a woman. A relationship exists in a fence. So you have a fence and she's inside it and the relationship itself is inside it. But the door is open and she can leave at any time. A girl can leave your presence at any time and you can never be like, don't leave or don't do any of this stuff. Because the way that the West is set up now, you can't try to force women to do anything. You know, I'm not saying force her physically, but even like, you know, pushing her into a position where she feels like she can now call the police to fuck you over, yelling at it, abusive text. And abusive text can mean many things. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean threats or anything, but you have to be careful of all of that crap now. A lot of those like control lever stuff and things that you could get taught from the past and get away with, in some spots they still can. But you can't do a lot of that stuff in the West anymore. Women have a lot more rights. But the thing how you can do well with women is you understand that girls just want to have fun. Their biggest quality is fun. See, fun is not necessarily running around the club doing fucking coke. It can be. But obviously once she's gone that far down the funnel, it's going to be very hard for you to turn it around if you can at all. Because again, it's like an earthquake theory. The highest spike, then you're going to have to overwrite that. And if she's getting high or she's doing even vapes, even drinking, even this and that, she has some means to replace you. So any of the emotional spikes or impact that you could give her, she can get via an artificial or an outside means to you. So you can't rival that. Like you can't overwrite that. She's not sitting there anxious because she can take the vape out and hit that and then put it down. So she's not thinking of you how she would be if she didn't have any of those fucking things. So all of that stuff is bad for you. Like to be with a girl who does all of that crap, it's not going to be good for you for the long term because it's hard to imprint. It's hard to make an impression. It's hard to stay on her mind because she's got so many distractions and things that she can go to rather than you. That's the truth of the matter. See, this is all the foundational stuff that we have to get to before I can start talking to you about how women work psychologically. I can teach you the dark side of dating. You won't ever meet anyone in your life that has women as crazy about them as I do. It's the truth. I have a lot of, I don't know a content creator, and I know many of them in real life that have ever done it like me. It's the truth of the matter. But again, you have to, like, with great power comes great responsibility. So a lot of you guys need to learn the word empathy. See, some guys just think that women have it so easy or that we both haven't been fucked over. Like men and women have both been fucked over by this new economy, inflation, programming. They had the Disney programming. They're waiting for the Prince Charming. We had the Disney princess programming that women are this way. We had the trad programming that women are only this way. You know, women are made to stay home and do all of these things. But that's not the truth. Like those ideas have changed because women are in the workforce and all of these other things. And women itself, a lot of them get pushed into some sort of sex work. If not sex work, but sex work of like they still have to work for a guy, even if they're an assistant. If there's something, they're going to work under some man who probably or can objectify them to a point. A pretty girl, she's going to get hit on at work and all that sort of stuff, which is neither here nor there. But again, we both, there's sex has been fucked over by the new economy, the new setup. So you can look at them and also have some empathy for them, as they should for you, because we all got fed the same shit sandwich. We're all living in places where the demographic locally has changed, financially has changed. You're living in a place where like rents are up, since COVID, probably some rents are up like 50 to 80%, but wages are up like 10%. So you've got half as much money as you had before. These sort of ideas and things like that. But that's the idea that men and women need to get an understanding of each other. But again, as I say in TCM, you can only understand others once you start to understand yourself and let go of a lot of the negative programming and crap. For some of you, that is the red pill. If you want to be in a little room or a coping group where guys stand there and chest beat and they talk about all of the problems and how they're great and all of these things, then that's okay. That's your life. But you will waste your whole life in a group like that. You'll never have what you want. You'll never get what you want. And if you do reproduce it all, it's going to be difficult, and you're probably going to pass on a lot of bullshit to your kids. You need to get rid of the anger, needs to get taken out of you. I say it to the guys all of the time. They had a wound. If they had a wound from the past, if it was a breakup, if it was anything, some betrayal, it can be from a friend, it can be from parents. Some parent gave them a bunch of negative programming, and all they did was just slap, like putty over it. You know, they're slapping bricks over, as it were. And then, but the same wound is still there. And in many cases, it's septic. So it's infected. And now they need to take all of the bullshit off that they've been teaching, all of these crappy little strategies and tactics. And I need to learn these lines. And I'm a pickup artist. All of that bullshit that people have been taught. Take it off and then get the wound, cut it, and then get all of the shit out. Deal with it. As I teach guys in TCM how to pull it out and essentially visualize it in their mind that they have the idea. So they pulled the thread. The first thread that comes through is, you know, why do I think like this? Or why do I think like this about women? You know, all women ain't shit, or I'm not happy with this. And then they pull on it further and they pull up to a reference point for where it all started, like where their idea started. Maybe it was their mother. Maybe it was their sister. Maybe it was an ex. Maybe it was some other girl. For some, they haven't even had experience with women. Their experience comes from hearing something from someone else. So it's not even firsthand. And then you essentially imagine a spotlight, put the spotlight on the question, all the actual like words, the negative talk, and then you quiz it. You see if it has any merit. This is exercise that I teach at TCM. It's a very, very, very high level exercise to essentially restructure, but not restructure in lies. So you can't pull the thoughts out of your head and rip it up like mentally, because it might have merit. Like some guy pulls the thing up and they're like, I'm tired of people calling me a fat ass. but they're 400 pounds. So that you can't rip that idea up because, again, you're not going to be able to reprogram. Like, you can't fool your subconscious. You can't fool the universe. You can't fool that subconscious, the observer, or he knows, observer, the subconscious knows what you deserve. And it won't give you anything outside of that. It really won't. Universe, your subconscious is sculpting the universe in front of you. It's pushing it forward. This is the projector, but at the back's where everything's happening, and it projects out that way. What you focus on, you will get more of. So if you're focusing on a bunch of defective women and women yelling and fighting and gossip, you're going to get you're only going to see more of that around. As you focus on abundance, good women, and start focusing more on what it is that you want, you'll get more of it. But you have to become the one who deserves more of it. A lot of you have to let go of the very negative programming that you've been told about women. A lot of you need to stop following guys who like pimp women and then talk about how they're now hoes. They created the very issue. They have no self-awareness. I don't jump on here and complain about junkies because I myself have sold drugs in the past for a considerable time. I went to jail for it. So it would be very hypocritical to be under such an idea. But again, it's a lack of empathy, all of these ideas. And you have to come to the table with women because they are, for most, they're going to have what you want. This like idea of a lot of guys is like, oh, we can suffer more than they can, so therefore we can hold out. We can live under a bridge, it's okay, but women can't. So that's a good idea for some reason. Stupid. These ideas are dumb. Like, a lot of this stuff and a lot of this long-term thinking is bad. But that's the idea of this video. You know, I can't teach you guys about dating until you get empathy for women. That's the irony. And then also, I can't teach you guys about dating either until you come to understand what it is that you want. Some guys say that they want a serious relationship or shit like that, but they're running around Tinder and all of this crap. Like, yeah, it can be okay. You can meet a needle in a haystack there. Most of the girls on Tinder are garbage. Because the thing with Tinder is, as soon as you get on there, the girl realizes that she can swipe pretty much anyone and she'll match anyone. Even if it's a 6, she's a 6 out of 10. She'll get matches constantly. So that in her head now, she thinks she has all of these options, because a lot of women don't know the difference between a guy who likes them to fuck and a guy who doesn't, because a lot of guys will just lie to her. And she'll be like, oh, I have all of these like cool guys that tell me that they want a relationship with me and they want all of these things and they're so this. And the guy's only saying that to get laid. And then once he gets laid, he's going to bounce, or he's very likely to bounce at some point. Some of them have girlfriends and shit. But that's, again, the enemy of for the next man. Because, again, she's been lied to, but then the girl gets a massive head under such a thing. I've never met a girl on Tinder where it's lasted long, or it's been lasted, but it's been problematic the whole way. It's like, again, you're shopping in the junk mail. Like, you'll open your inbox is there. It's like 2 or 3 emails that have come in, and then there's like 500 in the junk mail. And then you're like, oh, I'll just check what's in the junk mail. Tinder is like that. Most of the people and most of it on Tinder you weren't meant to meet. It's true. It's like you scrolling through Instagram and just cold DMing chicks. You weren't meant to meet them. That's true. You don't have a trust or faith that God, or essentially what I believe, the lattice and the basilisk is presenting you with challenges. You know, it's presenting you with growth opportunities. It's pushing you through a path where you're meant to meet the people that you're meant to meet, but you're meant to meet them in the real world. But you only meet them in the real world by going around the real world. Similar to, like, you know, Fallout or another video game where you come up to a person and essentially they have something that teaches you something for the next part, but you have to do it in stages, versus just jump on and just spamming people to meet a bunch of people that you weren't meant to meet, putting a heap of effort into like things that are going to be very transient. Like, they're not going to work. Everything that's you're meant to meet, you'll meet in reality, like the reality that's pushed in front of you. It's true. Some of you need to be more notice things that are around you. I've said it before to the guys. Some of the guys, like, they have a girl around, or a girl they've known since school, or some other girl, and she chases them constantly. She messages them all the time. She's always checking on them, and they don't notice her. Because a lot of us, if we're honest, we think that if we work harder for something, that means that it has more value. And if we didn't have to work hard for something, it means that it doesn't really have any value. Some of us have insecurity in some way. So the girl that's really on top of us, we're like, she must have something wrong with her. Some guys are like, I don't think that I'm shit, so therefore, if she's chasing me all of the time, she must be not be anything either. With this other girl, the Instagram model, she's the one that, she doesn't even reply to me and leaves me on scene, but that must have value there for some reason. She might have more options, but it doesn't mean that she has more value. The harder that we work for something, guys think too, the harder you work for a relationship, the harder you work to raise interest. They're the ones that it falls over quickly. Any girl that I've worked where I've had to try to convince her to fuck, like I've had to it's like I'm reaching out all the time. I'm trying. She might kind of likes your post or likes something, and then you're like, "Can we hang? You want to catch up tonight?" And then she doesn't. She leaves you on red, and then a week or two later, she messages you, but she's ultra flaky. She puts low effort in, and then eventually you see her, and maybe you fuck, but then it falls over immediately again, and then you're always the one trying to boost it up. It's not for you, and that's why. Essentially, when you do it, it's going to fall over again and again and again and again and again. Versus the ones that are kind of for you, they can teach you parts about yourself, and for a lot of you, they would actually teach you to get past a lot of the shit about yourself that you don't like. These girls, the ones that actually love you, the ones that stick around and chase you around and all of those things, because they see something in you that for some of you don't see in yourselves, and they can actually help you to incorporate that. That's true. A lot of the stuff in the exercises that I teach in TCM is exactly that. How to actually have substance, how to have some depth to you, how to crack the internal battles. Luigi Mangione, where he says, once you've conquered the wars within yourself, you don't worry about the wars of the external. Like nothing external can hurt you again. It's true. The hardest fight and the hardest battle that you'll ever have is you v you. It's the one in the mirror. It's incorporating your shadow. I've said it before, the Bane reference, where essentially Bane and Batman, Bane is Batman's shadow. The scene where he lies about the Harvey Dent and the Two-Face, and then Batman himself becomes incongruent because he's essentially he's like a moral man, and he allows a lie to spread because he doesn't pull it up. The commissioner's saying that they put a bunch of shit under the Harvey Dent Act of the Batman movie, and then they jail a bunch of criminals, and some of them were innocent. They didn't get a fair trial. So it's not justice, right? It's not justice is, again, just. But that's the force of it. It has to be court cases. They have to be an analysis. They have to see that some of them, if 80% of people are criminals and 20% are completely innocent and they all go to jail for life, that's still a pretty bad outcome. If it's okay if you're not in the 20%, but if you're one of the innocent ones who gets your life thrown away, it's not very good. So it needs to all be merit-based. And then essentially Bane, which is Batman's shadow, comes out and smashes the image that Batman had for himself. It wasn't congruent. He was getting sloppy. He's getting slow. He lost his fire had lost, and then Bane smashes his back and then smashes his mask on the ground. He breaks Batman in that moment. That's a Jung idea, the wrecking ball, and it does come along. Essentially, you build a persona that's not true, that's not congruent, and then the wrecking ball comes in and smashes it. And sometimes the wrecking ball is you. You get an addiction, you get gambling addiction, you get some other habit, something else you're doing that because you're not in alignment, and then it wrecks what it is that you built. And then you can rebuild it again, and it can get knocked over the same. And then essentially Bane throws Batman in the abyss, which is essentially a Plato's cave. That's a Plato's cave reference. He has to do the work inside. He has to go deep and pull deep into himself to realize that he has to find that connection again. He has to find alignment again. He has to find his hunger again, like his passion. If you don't have a passion, if you don't have a hunger, if you don't have any, there's nothing that you're working towards, life is going to be very hard for you. Like you're going to fall into a period of nihilism, specifically if you have more time, free time. Batman has that because he's rich. He could just pack it in and just say, get fucked and I'll leave. I don't need to do any of this shit. I'm already a billionaire. I don't need to do this crap. I'm going to be a playboy, all of this shit. But he chooses to look after the city. And then in the moment where Batman essentially in the beginning, so he gets to climb out of the cave. And then he only climbs by taking off the rope. And fear will find him again. Fear is feeling, like his feelings will find him again. In that moment, he finds he has not the suicidal devotion that he has in earlier. A lot of the shit that Batman is fighting for, he's fighting because he doesn't care if he dies or not. A lot of that stuff before that. Like he says, you think that the fear of death, without the fear of death, makes you strong, but it actually makes you weak. It's true. How are you supposed to fight longer and harder without the most basic fear Like, fear itself is the adrenaline multiplier. But that's the idea of the guys that don't feel anything. They're closed off from their feelings and their emotions. That's the truth. And then Batman in himself, where he makes that last jump, does it without the rope. And then the bats come out, and in that moment, he becomes Batman again. He's fully aligned. Like he incorporates into the one body. It's an individualization process, another Jung idea. But that's the idea that all of us have to go down. Some of us are in Plato's cave, but we don't even know it. We haven't done the reflection. We haven't done the time. We haven't sat there and had the look around. I've done that. I've done that many times, and that's not to say, and I've done that even recently. I've had my own times where I've you can see, the thing is, you can go up there and you can fall back into a cave of your own at some point. Some people withdraw into there by choice. But the thing that gets me, again, I've said it before, with guys guys are these religious guys, or they act like they are online and all of these things. And then they use women. They abuse them. They treat them like shit. They be fuck boys. They do a bunch of shit, then they turn around and be like, oh, men can do it because they just can't. That's just, you're just acting irresponsible. Because a lot of that stuff is bullshit based. Like, if you have two girlfriends, as I have before, then do it as I did, where they're both in the same room and you have two girlfriends. There's no tricks. There's no fucking LARPing. There's no lying. See, a lot of you guys and you gurus, you can only do those things by lying to women. Lying is that's low level. Like, that's, to me, that's still very low level stuff. Deception is one of the lowest for it. Well, essentially, deception is demonic. Like, it's a satanic idea. Lucifer, the father of all lies. It's the truth. Cheating is not, in my view, cheating is not like fucking another girl. Cheating is lying to your girl. And none of that stuff has any legs, because, again, it's not, you're not in a period of alignment. If you are to do these things, at least own up to them. Let the girl know that she can stay or leave, but don't be a pussy about it. And you can have her stay. You can have two girls. You can have three. You can have all of that stuff. But you'd be amazed what you get just by not being a liar. Where girls look and they're like, oh, well, I don't agree. And some won't. Some will leave. But they'll be like, oh, well, I still respect that he's he's upfront about it. Instead of others who do it and then lie about it. And then they're trying to keep everyone separated because all of the lies are going to fall over. And they will, under such ideas. So, again, a lot of the stuff that's taught, and at least things around girls and stuff, there's no one on my level of that. I don't know. I don't care what influencer you could mention. They're not on my level with women. They're not on my level with psychology. They don't understand people like I do. They don't understand frame. They don't understand framing a relationship. They don't understand game theory, but also how to speak to women in a way that captures their imagination. When's the last time you ever asked your girl, not just a girl, about her dreams? What it is that she wants? What's she looking for? What did she think when she was a kid? What were always the things that she thought that she wanted? What does she dream about at night? Do you talk to her before she goes to bed? Because if you do, you're more likely that she's going to dream of you. Do you know how to leave these ideas and impressions in her head that she does dream of you? People dream of you. It's just showing her how powerful that you are. That's true. In this whole game, in this whole scene, when dreams of you, it's not a good sign. They have no connection to you. Dreaming of you means the subconscious is pulling them towards you in some way. It's not that they're conscious. They're not aware of it. And the subconscious will be fed. That's the one that will happen regardless. Some people too, they have a connection in a way that it doesn't matter if people try to get in front of it. It's not going, they're going to find each other anyway. You have many girls of your life that would be good girls for you as well, for women, but you can't often find them because you're in the bots, you're dealing with the junk mail. It's you're just ripping through just crappy letters that have come through, and there's a parcel waiting here to read and look at. There's something good, and you're just ripping through all of the garbage. And then by the time you're oh, there's a parcel there, it's been very long, and now the girl's oh, I don't want this guy as a fuckboy. It didn't take him running through 50 or 100 girls to find me, did it? These ideas too, it doesn't matter that guys can have 500 body count and all of that stuff. That's dumb. It does matter. It's pretty obvious. Pair bonding is harder the more that you get because you've had a lot of it. This idea, guys to suddenly get 500 girls and then turn around and they're I've had enough now. I don't want to be with these. I don't want to be such a big fuckboy. It's not true. The brain reward mechanism gets set a very set way. You're used to new pussy, new girls, new fun. Everything's exciting. You can have a girl that's hot, fuck her 50 times, and then you can fuck her 6 once and be like, I'd rather be with the 6 for that first time. Because in your head, you're like, it's something new. You get used to that. Something just random. It's like cranking the slot wheel. It can be addictive, those ideas. Some of the ideas and behaviors and habits and things that you formed when you're in the fuckboy phase will ensure that you're never going to actually find what it is that you want and actually have something for the long term. Unless you do some very deep reprogramming. Some of you have a big karmic debt with women that's going to burn you anyway. You're going to have to be uncomfortable for a while. You understand that with karmic debt, you can actually take it away by analyzing it yourself. That's true. Karmic debt can be removed by, again, doing the thing where I say with the thread and then draining the wound because it may feel uncomfortable for you. Some of you will come to the realization that you've used a lot of women and hurt a lot of people. And you won't like that feeling because some people are terrified of responsibility and accountability for some reason, even though they talk about being masculine. They like to blame other people. These ideas. See, people can come on and say, oh, I'm for women or I'm this and I'm that, but I would never talk down to a guy in front of women. I'm only on here to teach you guys phase 1 so that I can teach you guys phase 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Phase 1 is to realize that the system that you've been taught is bad for you. The system that you've been taught is sex over a connection. You've been taught pleasure over like longevity. You've been taught like it tastes better to eat a chocolate bar than it does to eat fucking fruit or vegetables. And chocolate does taste better, but it burns very quickly. Like the energy disappears quickly. It has consequences. You can't eat it all the time. And then once you've been chasing hedonism and pleasure, the treadmill is real. That's a real thing. Girls, it's the same thing with women. If you fuck 200 women, it's not going to feel as good as it will for the first 10. The first 10 girls that you're with will be the best. Like the best, it'll be the most enjoyable because it's fresh, it's new, it's all of these things. From that moment onwards, the further that you go down, it's on a massive decay. You need more to get less, like a drug. It's a true thing. You have to have like 2 girls at a time just to kind of feel as much as you would have felt in the past from one. It's true. You got to be careful of all of those things. And again, they're things that make it very difficult for you to have a normal relationship. Like, why do you think these billionaires and things like that can become massive degenerates? It's because they're moving far down a funnel like that. But these ideas, like, these rapper ideas of fuck these baby mamas and, we're bitches ain't hoes, bitches are hoes and tricks and all of this stuff. We can understand that for rappers and, those sort of people, they're dumb. But then you watch your masculinity guys, teaching you rapid consumerism. You're not much unless you have a supercar or, you should get a heap of chicks and bounce around with a bunch of OF girls and fly chicks out and have some hookers hanging off you as well. And that's all dumb. Like, unless you're rich and if that's the kind of lifestyle that you want. But it reaches a point where it's sad. Like, it's very transactional and it hardens people. Being in a transactional setup, even if you know that, it hardens you up, it's not fun. It's not good to sit in that sort of an environment. But again, this is just the opening thing for guys. For a lot of you, I hope that it brings you to a realization where you start to look inside and actually look to the guys that were teaching you things and see if it's really gotten you anywhere. If you look at yourself now versus 2 or 3 years ago, if you're honest with yourself, has any of the stuff that you've learned really done anything for your life? Is it better? Self-development is only good if you're actually developing. Self-development is detrimental and actually a waste of time if you are actually not going further along. Self-development is necessary now because of inflation, because of kind of whole inflation, all of that moral decay of society. So a woman today is going to be, average woman today is going to be better than an average woman in 10 years. And an average woman 10 years ago was better than an average woman today. That's true. Less bodies, less bullshit, less crap like around society, less laws and things that make it more difficult for you to talk in your own house. All of these things, less rules for you to be the disciplinarian or run your house, all of those things now. But the moral decay will continue. Like, a good friend today is going to be a better friend today than 10 years from now. Society's on a moral decay. A lot of people are essentially looking more out for themselves. But essentially, that's your first step. And if you can come to understand that and not cry and cope and sit there and be like, oh, he's upset me or he must be for women or all of these things. Because if I was for women, I would be running the complete woman. I run the complete man. And that's the product that I run that you can join. It's a men's community. We do live streams every week where I get on and talk to the guys. Yeah, we do lives on there. I do exercises on there that teach guys. I'm writing ones weekly now, which they submit, and then I analyze them and send back my feedback. And it helps them to get rid of a lot of negative habits, negative self-talk. It helps them grow through shit from the past, helps them envision their future and actually start to move towards it. We cover everything in there. And then I got SLB crypto. So I run my crypto community. I think that with essentially you've got what next year, the end of the year and next year, I think the market will be extremely hot. We're getting ready for AI plays as well. I have a big index in there. I think the index is up like 60% in the last 5 months, which is good for an index. Most of the hedge funds lose money. I think our last index was 80% a year. So that's a great asset, great asset class to be invested in. We're getting ready for AI. I'm building out Crypto Mine, which is essentially my crypto product. It's an EEG mining essential algorithm, but there's much more to it. It's going to be much more than that. But we'll see how it all goes. And we've actually looked like we might be teeing up some very exciting partners for that. Big partners, which will be an interesting thing considering it's not built yet. It'd be very expensive. I'm probably going to be spending $30K a week on development dollars. So that's exciting, but that's conviction, right? I'm spending it out of my own pocket. It's not a shit coin. It's actual tech. It's patented tech around the EEG. That's as much as I can say for now. But lads, other than that, enjoy it. And if you guys can, want to come in TCM and want to join, my website. And those of you who essentially can come onto the next video, which means that you can get a level of self-awareness to be like, look, I can listen to some of what he's saying and I think that he might have some merit, because what we've been taught isn't really getting what it is that we want. And do you know what you fucking want? That's a big part of it. But till next piece, lads. Talk to you soon. Love yous.